This is Adam Gorney with the Respect My Decision podcast on Rivals, here with a very special guest today, mixed martial art champion Vitor Belfort, who has a tremendous career of his own and is also the father of Davi Belfort, the 2024 quarterback, now at Miami Gulliver Prep, and black belt in all kinds of disciplines. And basically, you can crush me in about 2 seconds, right? I mean, that's that's right.
You know, martial art teaches discipline, martial art teaches respect, and you can only go after someone who signed the contract to fight you. So besides that, I'm the most peaceful human being you can meet. And I love people, and I love to make other people great. So I will help you.
Right.
Yeah, how about that, Adam?
Thank you for that, because I look at me. I couldn't fight anybody. So talk to me about your career, though, because it's definitely an interesting thing. And how did you kind of get into it, and where did that drive come that you really wanted to pursue this as not only just like a hobby or something, but seriously as a career, to get black belt in multiple disciplines and then become a champion?
Yes, you know, when I was a kid, I was very driving. I knew what I want, and I go after, and I had such a will, and I think will, and I would say, you know, we have here, you have what you want, and here you have, you know, your will to get what you want, and usually they are in different extremes. Okay, what you want usually is very high, and what you do is your will gonna determine if you're gonna arrive at, and then conjunction together. So
Yeah.
I knew what I want, and I had such a will. So and actually this came a little higher, and I had to kind of balance it out, and that's what I've been, you know, been living and trying to teach my kids, that whatever you want, it's your will, your desire to get what you want has to always rise above, so you can meet in their level. So usually, you know, I'd rather this to become higher than what you want. But if it's too much, now you don't have nothing to grab. So you gotta literally put put your will over there what you want. And I had this in a very early age, and I was very lucky, as you said, you know, blessed, and I literally was was one of the most important figure to open MMA, not just to America but to Brazil, to other countries, and inspire so many great champions that we have currently today. So it's I love compete, and I love to compete against myself. And I think at the end of the day, you're our, not just me, you Adam as well. You're a very successful man. You know, sometimes our worst enemy is in us. It's
Yeah.
in me. It's not even someone outside. So, and I kind of love the process, and you know, I achieve great things.
That will versus your desires. I mean, that's easy. You could really want everything, but to get there, is that something that's taught or something that's learned, or is it just something inside of you? And how do you evoke that to your own son as he embarks on this football journey?
So I always say, the great men, the great leaders, the great achievers, they ask questions. The great achievers, they very curiosity. I think is curiosity is it's what get us to discover. You know, I always trying to go back. You know, I like to go back to our fathers. You know, the people that conquer, you know, different countries. They used to go in a boat, and they never knew if they're gonna come back. You know, but they are go after. You know, they wanted to conquer something. You have to risk. I always says, if you want to do something in life, you have to risk something today. If you want to achieve something tomorrow, we have to sacrifice some today. But I think sacrifice is very important. But the most important thing is obedience. Obedience to the sacrifice. The Bible is speaking about obedience being more important than sacrifice, and that being obedience is what gonna get you to the place. So I'm trying to teach my kids that you can sacrifice as much as you want, but if you don't obey, you know, obedience will gonna take you farther. Obedience is going to make you not go into routes that have a dead end. Obedience is going to, and I'm not saying sport. I'm saying like we have so many athletes today. They're great achievers, but they didn't obey, and they don't have an instructor family. They suffer from saving money. They suffer from having real friends. They suffer because they don't have no one to trust. And whose fault is themselves? They didn't obey the process. And obedience leads you not just to become successful in the field or whatever you choose to be, but it's going to take you further as a person. You're going to have great relationships. You're going to have great mentors, and you're going to have some ups and downs. But you're going to have the probability to succeed is much higher, as I says, if you obey the process.
So you talk about that, the obedience, the sacrifice. How do you translate that and kind of harness it into Davi's recruitment? And as you look for the best spot for him, as he looks for it, how do you kind of figure that out through what coaching staff or situation program would be best for his abilities?
So first thing, what we do, I make the V. We have the V have like the pros and cons. So, and he puts his top lists. He took his top schools, and then he puts, we created three ways of rating. One being 5, one being 3, and one being 1. So either 1, 3, or 5, and then we pick the places. And we make decisions. Some people make decisions out of money. Some people, and especially today with the NIL deal, and that being said, like we're not, and thank God we have a good situation. We are very thankful. But I never made situation. The worst situation I made in my career is to fight for money or just going to compete for money. I think that's not a good place to be. That's called desperation. When you desperate, a person who's desperate, he'll do anything for money, and we see that today. We see a lot of people being giving this giving money, printing money. No one wants to work. No one wants to do the hard work. If you own a business, it's so hard to find people to do the job. They just want to get paid. They don't have a passion. They don't have a purpose, and I think that's why we have with social media, we have so much depression, so much comparison, people trying to compare themselves with others. We live in a society today that is very weak comparing to the fathers of America when they went through the depression. They work hard, they are hard worker, they don't, they come back home, they don't complain, they go next day. And I think we have such this Z generation that I would say that the V is part of this generation, but the V has a mentality of a fighter, of a grinder. Me and my wife, we're trying to stall. The best job I think I did my whole life is being a father. My wife as well, being a parent, and I think that's the best legacy you can live in this world. The best legacy I can live to the world is my seeds, and our kids is our seeds, and I mean, I'm trying to prepare them to be a great human being, whatever they choose to be. So we never pick their sport. I'll never dream to be a quarterback. I never dream to be a volleyball player or gymnastic or track. So my kids, they choose that path. And what we do in the house, because I'm a competitor myself, I went through it. I still go through it. And now I'm doing boxing. So it's like I always knew how to reinvent in myself. But what keep me to a high level is like it's me versus me. Every and I'm saying like, what people wants to see is a competition. They want to see high level competition. I hate it when I see boxers boxing someone in their lower levels, and they look great. But remember, I always tell the V, you're not judged what your scores, like how many. I am undefeated, but who are the people that you fought? Who are your opponents? That's how you define the ancient warriors. Not how many wins, but who are they competing against? And like in football, you see SEC, so they have all this SEC, Big 12. So it's like you want to go, and that's what they're looking for, especially quarterback position. Coaches, they want to get a hold of someone, not just have a good arm or a good release or but most important thing for a quarterback is your IQ, your decisions, and the most important, you be a competitor. You're a competitor at the high levels, and I mean, you can be a C. I almost like quarterback positions like you are a CEO. You were a CEO on the field. So I have been seeing my son, literally like putting so much time, not just in the field, in the training, but also in understanding football,
Yeah.
understanding the schemes, understanding the high level football, IQs. He's a sponge. He asks questions. He's never satisfied. Davi, I taught him a lot of stuff here. He's taking to the next level. So, example, we rate every training session. Give me a rate. I want to see a rate. He never rate himself more than 8 is the highest he rate himself.
Yeah.
I'm saying because I teach them in a early stage. What's your standards? What's your standards? And that's the decision to kind of. David's so ready for that. He's so mature, and I say, David, that is, you have to reach for the next level. He always looking for the next level. So I think he's looking to compete, and his big goal. Remember, he has a bigger goal. He wants to play NFL, but to play in NFL, you have 2 stages. You have to go through it. You have to go to high school and college. So college it is in the midst of that. So we call the 3 layers of football. We have the first layer is where you create, like we are just watching right now, the senior year of Bryce Young. He loved Bryce. They're great friends. He was just watching his senior year. He was just kind of saying, and for every throw, he said, Dad, look at this, look at that. What a throw, and he was just kind of looking through things that I cannot see myself. He sees it. And I mean, and now I'm with him every day, and I get to learn from him how he make decisions, and it's almost like you start seeing what you cannot see before. And he very related so much with Bryce because I think they have similar type of a game and a similar release, everything, personality, and he's such a strong mind. And he was watching because he's already there. So these 3 layers in high school is where you build your foundation to go to the college. When you arrive in college, you have a separation. You literally separated yourself because in high school you literally separation from when they go to the junior and senior year is a separation of players. And in college you have the tiers that separate themselves. They come to a level they kind of ready for NFL. And I think that's his main goal. He literally has his big goals, but he has his middle term goals, small goals. So, and I would say, if you have your bigger goal here, what you want has to be rise to the level, like cream rise to the top. So I say, if you really want to play high level, so the goal of you playing ball, you want to play college. So he wants to mature, and he's so mature that it's time for him to go and go after his goals. So I'm very proud that's the way he think and the way he makes the decision. We let our kids make their decision here in the house. Of course, we counsel them. They have their mentors. They go over. But I think was the best decision that I can see he's taking that stand.
As a dad of a high level recruit like he will be over the next couple of years, do you enjoy the recruiting process? Is it a necessary evil that you need to endure to get through? Is it cool kind of meeting these coaches and kind of shooting it with them a little bit?
Yes, Adam, it's great. It's great because you can literally see through it. Like I can see through it because I've been through it all.
Yeah.
I dealt with, I think, with the high level of being promoted. Of course, it's totally different because in fighting you have to create your whole staff. Thinking about, I have to go hire my massage, hire my trainer, and I have multiple trainers, and you have to be specialized in different positions. So the quarterback, he's not just have to be good in his position. He has to know every position.
Yeah.
And the greatest quarterback we see, Tom Brady, he not just know what he has to do, but he knows how they have to run the routes. They know how they have to create the line. He knows what's happening with so it's a lot of things. So I see as a quarterback as a mix of martial arts in the field. He has to know so many things, pre-snap, post-snap. He has to read the safety. He has to know what the DBs are doing. He has to literally know the defense side of the ball. And I think a lot of quarterbacks in college, and I can see they don't like to study the playbook. We see they just get by with the talent. So, like I said, you have to fall in love with the process and you have to obey. And that being said, let's say they spend 3 hours playing ball. They got to spend 3 hours with themselves. Like he was these days here, his coach came here. They for 2 hours, and his coach was fatigued, and Davi was saying, no, coach, 1 more hour. Let's go 1 more hour. So that's what you want. And I think I like that because I see that the passion, don't make this become a work. Don't let, and I'm like say, we're not making decision by NIL deal. It's great. We're gonna, of course you want to, but I mean, more important, as you said, I want to know the schemes. I want to know how early I can play. I want to fall in love with my coach. He literally, he's choosing his family. Basically, he's gonna live. And like I said, it's easy. I remember like it was yesterday. Like the father of my wife said, "Hey Victor, I'm gonna remind you something, and you're gonna take with you. It's easy to love when everything goes good with you and your wife. I want you to love my daughter when things go south, when things goes bad, and that's when I want you to really love my daughter. So I say the same thing for my son. It's very easy when you're winning, when everything is good. I want a coach that you really embrace it, the good days and the bad days, because guess what? Every quarterback gonna have some bad days, during the season. It's how you react. And like I said, don't start reading the news too much because you are the only one can define yourself. And respect, because the reported job is to write what's happened at the moment. But that doesn't mean people doesn't like you. You cannot get personal. Sometimes people gonna have to, and even myself, they get mad because I would say, I was pushing him in the training. I called him outside and I said, David, I'm going. I'm leaving. He said, no, Dad, I don't want you to say, listen, you're not listening to me. So why I'm here? And we have a talk. He went back to the field and kicked everybody's ass.
Yeah.
And that's the mentality. I said, it's not nothing personal. I said, you have to take criticism. And that's when you learn, what makes a player, a fighter, or a husband, like I get criticized with my wife every week. Doesn't mean she doesn't love me. What I'm saying, Adam. It's so
Oh,
hard.
my wife curses at me all the time, Peter. Believe me.
But I mean, I think it's like if you can manage it, like I said, David, if you can manage your relationships outside of the field, in the field is going to be the easy way. If you cannot manage your relationships pretty good outside of the field, and we see that in so many lives of athletes. And I said, one thing I told David, I said, David, if I see you with this bling bling, I promise I'm going to choke you out. I said, one thing I want you to understand, it's not because you made it you start living a lifestyle like I want, and that's what I say you, and that's what I always wanted to do. It when you have the platform, now is when you have a chance to motivating the next generation, establish your standards so you can make other people great. And we see in a lot of sports that being happen. And I said, that's how I teach my kids. I said, it's not about you. It's about, I said, it's about, I call the selfish flip of the letter. The letter me. It's very important for an athlete. But when you flip the letter M, that letter become W. That's the best letter for athlete. It's win and it's we.
Yeah.
You want to win, you have to create the we. It's all about we. It's everybody's important on the process. The people that gonna be helping the lowest to the highest. So treat everybody president, and you're gonna have success in whatever you do in life. And I'm very happy to see, my kids go after their dream.
Two quick questions for you, because I always wanted to ask you, and now I have the opportunity, so I will to close it out. Your toughest fight ever. Who was it? Who was the guy that you're like, I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna crush him, I'm gonna beat him, and then he was tougher than you thought, maybe? And second, what is the hardest discipline? What's the most challenging discipline? Is it boxing? Is it just being able to use your hands? Is it judo? I mean, you've done it all. What would you say?
And then my toughest competitor was Randy Couture.
Yeah.
Randy Couture, he taught me the lesson. My first fight, I thought I was invincible, and I literally, he kicked my ass, and that's how you learn,
Yeah.
And unfortunately, and like I said, I trying to teach people, don't try to go through the experience, and it's funny because very quick they have two guys that really love their story in the Bible. One is Joseph, and another one is David. Joseph learned how to don't commit adultery. He literally run away from the wife that really wanted to have sex with him, the wife of the guy he used to take care of his house. So he literally one time he ran. So he escaped from that temptation. Versus David went through it, cheat his best friend, his soldier, commit adultery, also commit murder right after, and then he repent. So I say, son, you want to have the heart of David, but you want to have the discipline of Joseph, the obedience. And I said, don't go through the experience if you can't avoid it. Obedience is what's gonna save you. So I wasn't obedient when I went through fighting Randy. I was not obedient with the process. So I get my ass kicked, and that he definitely was the toughest competitor. And I say the toughest discipline is to understand yourself. It's understanding and don't work out of your weakness. I see a lot of athletes trying to be good in what they're weak. So let me put that way. Tom Brady never trying to run a 4.3, 4.4.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? Tom Brady, of course, he work on his speed, he works in agility, but he trying to be good in what he's good at. And I think, first of all, everybody can be good on over here in the mental game. It's the mind. You gotta understand the mind and the brain, they're separate. You have to work your brain, but also you have to work your mind. So it's like a workout. They have a lot of discipline you can work through meditation, through skills, and I have developing a lot of that muscle, the muscle of the brain and then the mind. So in that being said, and I tell my kids every day, so how could you be better today? Rate yourself in the end of the day, because it's a compound effect. And I see a lot of kids today, they into social media, they in the hype and all that, or a lot of jealousy, a lot of envy. And I say, listen, man, celebrate other people's success. And I see that he's celebrating everyone's success. He loves to see Malachi Nelson is one of his friends. He loves to see the success of people that he never met, like Manny. He likes to see other people's success. A lot of quarterbacks, he loves to see the success of them. And I think that's what makes, your life easier, and you be able to accept, your role into it. Because if you cannot celebrating other people, you're going to be selfish. And quarterback, it's a totally servanthood position. You are serving. You never let no one serve you. You're the number one server on your team.
That is Vitor Belfort, the mixed martial arts champion, father of Davi Belfort, the 2024 quarterback. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Respect My Decision podcast, Vitor.
Hey, Adam, what a pleasure, man.